Hey everyone, I'm here with two amazing Alberta entrepreneurs, Mandy Balak from the ACE class and James Boettcher from Righteous Gelato. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
So good.
Yeah, Saturday morning, having a little coffee. Get to hang out with you. It's a beautiful day.
Sun's shining, can't beat it,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
We showered today, so that's good.
That's a key.
Off to a good start.
So guys, appreciate you taking the time. Can you guys just maybe just fill us in on kind of, a little bit about your businesses and then just kind of the current situation you guys are faced with?
You go first.
Yeah, so the ACE class is a community of women. We do events, conferences, experiences, and our business is all about empowering women to make an impact in the world. A lot of that happens at events. We actually, on March 12th, had to cancel our big conference. We were supposed to have 200 women together up in Banff at the Fairmont Chateau. That has been postponed to the fall, and went from 8 people on my team to one person on my team. All events for the foreseeable future have been postponed or taken online. And we are lucky that we were operating some of our business already online as far as how we were supporting our membership community. We had our online book club. We had a couple online mentor experiences and things like that. So our move to, continuing to support the community through Zoom calls and live streams and things like that, we just continued to show up. But certainly the connection piece, being able to wrap your arms around someone and, not being able to be within 6 feet of each other certainly has impacted the business. And everything we do at ACE is like taking women out of a sense of isolation in running their businesses and feeling alone. And now that sense of aloneness, all of us are experiencing in some capacity. So where we're at now is continuing to show up. It looks a little bit differently now, and certainly I'm seeing the power of this community come together more than I think I ever have, because we have to be a lot more creative in how we do that. But when we gather again, it'll be the fall. I think events are going to be the last thing to come back into the mix, and I think people are going to be really excited for not taking that for granted anymore, the power of connection and coming together.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's one of those things. It's one of the things we're going to take out of this is really appreciating being around other people. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
James, and how about you?
Yeah, my name's James. I have the privilege of shepherding a purpose-driven company now known as Righteous Gelato. A lot of fans here in Alberta and Calgary, and we're no stranger to adversity, as many people know. And throughout this difficult time we're in now, we've had to open a few journals and playbooks from yesteryear and take a look at what we did when we didn't know what we were doing. And I think that's a privilege in itself for us. We spent a lot of time lately ensuring that the ethos of our business has always been centered around community and making sure that not only are we doing things behind the scenes to look after others, but really making sure that our people are looked after and creating that sense of joy and happiness that we're so well known for. I mean, when you think about our product, in its essence is making the world more awesome. And if we have an opportunity to do that during this trying time, that's really where we've ended up. I mean, every day is a new challenge. One day we think, it's going this way, and then the next day it's going like this. And I mean, we're not hand sanitizer or toilet paper, but at the end of the day, people are still, and a lot of gratitude, still stopping in the frozen aisle to grab something that makes them smile.
It brightens up my day every day.
You've got a built-in happiness factor.
She does.
So, you know what? And just on that, I mean, how do we, for both of you, a lot of us are faced with having to lay people off, and they're difficult decisions. And I mean, we care a lot about these people, but how do you keep people motivated when you're maybe having to cut back on staff? I mean, any thoughts on that? Because that's a real struggle.
Yeah. I had planned to go away to celebrate the birth or the birthday of a very important dog to us. Those that know Shaka as the mascot of my brand we went away to Hawaii right at the start of this, and as this was occurring, we were in a position where uh, it was starting, and I remember Mandy and I sitting having coffee and just saying, "Wow, like we're gonna have to make some tough decisions remotely here." The good thing is that if you are fortunate enough to build a team that is centered around trust and intention, you're going to put yourself in a position in difficult times to communicate clearly what's happening. And I think the number one thing I did, and with my other business as well, Tico Canteen, uh, we just made sure that we were honest that we didn't know what the future held. So it's I don't think it's ever a but. I think when you talk about decisions that have to be made that are difficult around people's employment and those pieces. Really, it's about doing everything that you possibly can, but then also understanding you are doing everything possible. So for us, we haven't had to make too many drastic changes. In fact, we've taken a bit of an approach to add in some layers to our culture that we're already very proud of, to give people some flexibility and freedom around things like anxiety or safety or whatnot. So we've been really fortunate on the gelato side. And then for Mandy, it's been, I know, a little bit of a different story, obviously, with a event-based business. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it's optimistic for the future that this is a temporary pause. No one knows when this is really going to end. Uh, right now, more than ever, I mean, I believe in transparency and vulnerability and in leadership and being human first. And James said it too, like, just being honest and real about, hey, we don't know when this is going to end. We don't know all the answers. Like nothing could have prepared us for a global pandemic. And for anyone that feels like they don't know the right next move to make, like you're not alone. These are really challenging things and really challenging times and tough conversations to have. And regardless if you've been through that before, it doesn't make it any easier. So I had to have remote conversations. I have two teams as well. My other business is Date Night YYC, and I had three girls on my team there. And we represent, on that side of the business, we represent all the small businesses in the city that are currently closed. And a lot of those businesses are restaurants. There's a lot of fear about, some of those restaurants ever reopening. There's just so much uncertainty on that side of things. And I just faced my team and I said, hey, we need to make some real decisions here. And I have a entrepreneur group that I work with, and I got the advice from my coach that, the sooner you face that decision, the better, because right now it's about future proofing your business as much as possible. It's not about keeping any sorts of expenses, because I want those people to have a team to come back to. I want those people to have a company to come back to. And so conservation was the conversation I had to have. And they love this team and trust me as a leader so much that they are continuing to volunteer some of their hours and some of their time to move some pieces around that need to be moved around right now to stay in the picture, to continue to show up and support, right? Anything we can do to show up and support is of value to the businesses that are struggling. And then on the ACE side of things, it's like, we're doing our best, and we've now lost the event side of the business, but online is, that community is starting to thrive, and we'll be able to build back there if we're consistent in how we show up. So I have another team member that's, volunteering her time again, like believing in the vision because of the transparency and because of the honesty and because of the human to human conversation, right? So I think everyone knows, like, we're all in this together.
totally. Yeah, I would add to that just quickly. It's really a testament or a test of how strong your culture was prior to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I share the P&L and balance sheet with the team monthly. We're really transparent about how the business functions, so that when we are in a spot like we are now, there's an opportunity for people to understand more than anything. And I would say anybody in both of our businesses, they're actually asking how we're doing as leaders and created. I mean, no one likes to be unemployed or on the eye, but again, if they're believing in the true vision and the honesty and sincerity in what you're sharing about the future, then I mean, it kind of does its own thing. Like like friends or family would do, you know?
Yeah. And so leaders should ask for help.
Hmm.
Really should. Like, you know, if you feel like you've like lost your whole team and you're trying to figure out how to put all these pieces together, like ask for help. Chances are, if people believe in your vision and what you're doing and the impact that you're creating, that they would be happy to be a part of that, especially right now.
Yeah.
It's interesting you guys say that, because I think when we say in it together, it's not just the business community and the entrepreneurs or the business leaders. I mean, our employees, we're all in this together, right? And I mean, I think you have to do that. One of the things that I find, I mean, you guys, you know, I've had the experience of being in a business group for years, and you got people to lean on. There's a lot of those small business operators that don't have that network. They might be leaning on a spouse or employees or friends who maybe don't have that business experience. And I keep encouraging people, like, phone up a competitor, phone up
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody who you don't even know and ask for help. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because sometimes getting advice from your buddies on the ball team or, you know, isn't the best.
100%.
It's like personal development. Like don't ask the people that are like, you're doing great, you
No,
know?
it's like, you don't go to the hardware store for milk. It's the best quote I've ever heard. Like, don't go to the hardware store. Don't
Yeah,
talk
it
to your
is.
mom about this. Like, go find someone that's in those same trenches.
Yeah.
And like, at this point, like, just go talk to that person. Doesn't matter if they're your competitor or whatever. Like, we're all in this again, like
Yeah.
experiencing the same thing. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, and everybody can appreciate this. You know, I always get the comments of you know, you're so busy, or you two are so busy, and I'm like, well, no, we're all busy. Like, if you're not busy, come over here. I'll make you busy. But one thing I was prudent about out of the gate was ensuring that the communication lines were open, and a lot of people did reach out, especially in the first 4 weeks, and took it upon ourselves to have happy hour calls to just, you know, answer questions, help as we could. We have a very close friend that, you know, they're near and dear to our hearts, and they had some landlord struggles. They were really, you know, at a deficit with what the landlord wanted to do, and you know, in a simple 10-minute conversation, it went from making the impossible possible. And so I think right now, realize, especially in our community, this is one thing, Jeff, I think we saw in 13 during the floods. I mean, we saw personally during the 15 fire for us. No matter what competition looks like in this community, we still care about one another.
mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to see Village Ice Cream or Made by Marcus any further behind on what they're building, because in its essence, we're building an entire category or movement together. And so I reached out to Marcus with a text, just checking in, and yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised, for those listening. You'll be surprised that if you are vulnerable enough to say, hey, I mean, I'm sure you're going through the same shit I am. Like, can we jump on a call for 5 minutes? We're better together, right? So
yeah, and if you can take ownership of where you're at, that's when you can really like get some real help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no perfect white picket fence at this point right now. Like, don't pretend.
Yeah.
Be real about where you're at, and you're going to find people that are going to reach out and support.
Yeah, just don't go to the hardware store for milk.
Don't do that.
Well, you know what, and it's interesting too, because I've done quite a few of these and talked to people, and it's funny how people, and Glory Meldrum out of Edmonton, she says, Jeff, you got to take your armor off, because I think one of those things is sometimes we put on that front that, hey, everything's okay, and you know, we're strong business people, and it's kind of every man for himself. And then I stop recording, and people go, holy shit, I'm scared to death. You know, I don't know what's going on, and I think if we can share that with people, it helps. You know, just to feel like you're not alone. So
yeah, I mean, in life in general, nothing is certain. Tomorrow's never promised. And in business, we often sort of put ourselves on what we would deem as a certainty path. We built the strategy, and we got our 3, 5, 10-year plans, and all of a sudden we think it's just going to work out. And I always use the analogy, I grew up playing hockey, and it's like coach can drop all the game plays, but as soon as the puck drops, you know, you gotta respond to what's actually happening. And that's the God's honest truth right now in business. And if anybody's going through that, I would say just reach out, phone a friend, send a DM on LinkedIn, because you'll be surprised at the advice people are willing to give. I think the most important thing I would caution, and I've shared this with a few that I've been helping along the way, sort of shepherding, if I'm sharing with you, it's not a suggestion, it's direction. Like do something with it. It's not just an idea right now. We've got to mobilize and take action.
Where do we go from here? I think there's lots of debate over people about the phased approach and opening up and everything. I mean, any thoughts you guys have? I mean, obviously we need to keep safety the number one priority, but we also got to get our economy back on track. But and I think as well the whole support local need here.
Yeah, I mean, real time. Yet, yesterday or the day before, the province put together their plan here for mid-May. Um, I honestly, and pardon my ignorance, but I think it's too soon. I think we're in a position where businesses hopefully have had an opportunity to sort out a few things. I think, again, going back to the employee well-being, if we start hiring back a lot of folks that maybe were put on the reserves for a moment in time, and then something bad happens right after we sort of unleash this thing again. I mean, you only get one shot to tell somebody they're unemployed, and if you do that twice, I mean, no matter how much they trust you, you're not getting them back. And so I would encourage businesses to, whatever the government says doesn't just mean do that. I would take it into account and say, what is your gut check? Like, what's your own safety? And then from a PR standpoint, I mean, I never really think about these things because we generally are doing good things and we don't have to think too much about it. But as a business, if something were to go wrong and somebody were to get sick in your establishment or whatever it might be, like, that's far worse than kind of making May 15th your date. And again, pardon my ignorance, I know there's a lot of businesses that are running on fumes at this point and survival mode, and their landlords haven't cooperated, and the governments or the banks, there's all these forces working against them. So do what you need to stay alive, but don't let a false sense of greed or capitalism creep into making the right decisions.
I think businesses just need to make the right decision for your business.
Yeah.
And whatever that decision is, only you as the entrepreneur know and the founder know. Again, it's like safety of our community and your employees and the future. It's all about future protection right now. So don't think about just reacting right now, but think about what this impact has 90 days, a year down the road, as much as possible, so that we're not acting out of a place of fear, right? There's that acting out of a place of fear or scarcity or anything like that has never had a positive result for me. So I would say that. And then you mentioned, we got to support local in our economy and stop ordering from Amazon, like find and source whatever you can here. So many businesses are being so creative, and it's amazing to see. So go out of your way to make sure that you're getting, your groceries from your local grocer, and you're getting your wine and your spirits from your local brewery. And, the distilleries and the breweries are doing an amazing job of also making hand sanitizer and all of that, right? So do what you can, like really think about it. If I know money's tight for everyone as well. Finances are top of mind of like, oh my God, I got to support local. And, there's other ways you can support. You can also help amplify their message, right? If there's a restaurant that you love going to and you can't afford that, like just post on social media that they're doing curbside pickup. Give them a positive Google review.
Yeah.
Help them tell their story. There's so many ways that we can give back to the local community right now. And, if you can't afford for them to be there when we reopen, make sure you're doing what you can to support them now while they're closed.
Yeah. Yeah, I said early on in this pandemic, I hate using the word now, this moment in time for us. I've said it lots of times during my career, but we vote with our dollars, and at the end of the day, the consciousness right now has to be pervasive. It has to be top of mind when you are just making a decision of where you're going to buy or what you're going to eat. If you want that business to be around when this is all over, so for us with Takeo, we got this 9 holes of mini golf, fried chicken, bao taco. It's a great place. Like I love the joint. If you want that around when it's all done, like, I'm not saying you got to order every night, but, order once a week and order for lunch. And we've done a good job. We've made a very conscious effort of supporting those restaurants that are near and dear to our hearts. and making sure that, even if we can't, like Mandy said, I think the easy move is just a 5-star review, some sort of encouragement, sharing something on social about their promotions, because people don't understand how much that means to those businesses. It means everything.
Yeah, like someone is doing a literal happy dance when you order from a local business right now.
When that DoorDash thing bings at Taco, we're like, yay!
And it's a glimmer of hope that is going to help them continue to show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, no impact is too small.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I had a conversation with Ross Mickelson from Barbecues Galore, a great Calgary company, and he said it's tough because right now they're shut down because they're not considered an essential service, but all of their competitors, Home Depot, Lowe's, Costco, are still open. So they're still open, they're selling stuff, but they can't open their doors. And so these big, large competitors, and trust me, we need the Lowe's and the Home Depots. They employ people too, so we love them. But here's a guy like a Barbecues Galore kind of getting kicked in the teeth and can't do anything just because of the circumstances. So it's guys like that and the restaurants and everybody else that.
Well, our barbecues from Barbecues Galore, I'll give a quick shout out there. But
give them a 5-star review.
Yeah. And I would say this too. I mean, we all enjoy the perusing, right? I talk about how great it would be if Blockbuster Video was still open for a date night. Not right now, but during normal course of business. But
that's what you want to do for date night.
I mean, like walk around, pick up the movies. I mean, I don't want to touch anything right now, but it's got hand sanitizer right here. But I mean, as much as we enjoy that, it's still easy to just make a call. One thing Mandy did the other day, she called Plant and she's just like, hey, like we need some plants. Like, here's my budget. And then lo and behold, our house is full of greenery because Kyle's an expert and that team's doing a good job.
Wish me luck on keeping plants alive.
but that's the thing. We ordered from Chibo and a good friend, Glenn Manzer, and his lady, Erin, they're cooking. And these are like some of the best chefs in town making your food. And usually they can't, they're running the business and they've got their people doing it. And man, I'll tell you, like lights out on the pizza. We had Kraft last night, Chef Peugeot, my best man, he's cooking the Zaz and they're like 10 out of 10. So, I mean, it's a bit of a privilege right now when you've got this going on and guys like Darren McLean and Connie and John. I mean, these folks built their businesses on great food, and then at scale, it's not that it loses the greatness, but now you're literally getting like these people cooking for you. And so take full advantage right now on supporting everybody you can. And nobody's traveling. Mandy and I, we had a good laugh. We have a little bit of a travel budget. We've squirreled away a bit of cash, and now we're putting it into things in our community in a meaningful way. So
I love it. So how do you keep yourselves going? I mean, the whole motivation, like what, you can't wait, do you wake up every morning going, no problem, I got this? Or how do you keep yourself motivated?
There's a great John Wayne quote we often refer to, which is courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. I think we are fortunate that both of us are going through challenges. So, every time somebody's hitting the low, we can lift them back up. And that's where, as you alluded to, having a bit of a community in your businesses is important. We do wake up with a large sense of gratitude just for the opportunity. I think win, lose, or draw, growing up, both of us with not a ton, we've understood clearly that every day is a gift and do the best with what you have. And I think really it's for me has been the fact that we've been in some of these challenges before. I've had a chance to speak at a school, elementary, junior high, and I asked these kids, I said, has anybody had a day where they thought it was so tough they wouldn't wake up the next day? Mm-hmm. And every kid raises their hand, and then I say, guess what? You're still here. So, I mean, it's always darkest before the dawn, and having the ability to have that perspective, for me, I know when it starts, wait for the sun to come up, and as Mandy said, conservation in business right now is priority one. Cash is king, and you just got to be smart, and that's the message for me.
I think mindset is everything. And when this all first started, I definitely had a panic attack, and I had just laid off my team. I'm like, we're not even in the city. I'm like, what the heck is happening? Watching the news like nonstop and couldn't get off social media, just like in it, right? And James and I were sitting and having dinner, and my like anxiety was a lot, and I started crying. And he's like, "What's going on with you? Like, why are you experiencing this like this?" And I'm like, "I haven't done this before." And he looked at me and he's like, "Yeah, you have. Yes, you have. You've been through this before." And I have, I've had to go through really tough times in my business many times. I mean, my success is because of my failures. It's because of getting back up when shit hits the fan. And it's doing that work. And I recognized at that moment, I was like, oh yeah, it's a little different, but when have I had to face something and walk into the unknown and, be brave? When have I had to have courage to do that before? And I've done that before, and that's where we are now. And the mindset piece is, there's so much that is out of our control right now. So much. Said this earlier, and it's like, there's nothing that could have prepared us for this, right? This wasn't in anyone's business plan. This wasn't in our 90-day or roadmap or 10 years. Like no one thought of this, right? So you got to have some grace for yourself for that. But with so much out of our control, we have to take control over what we can control. And the more we can take control over the little things, the more we build up the courage and the trust in ourselves that we can show up to do the hard things. And these are little things. It starts with making your bed in the morning. It starts with getting up when your alarm clock goes up and continuing your habits. It starts with moving your body, getting outside, doing the little things in your day that show you that, hey, I'm in control of this moment. And James said it, gratitude is such a big piece of that, because gratitude talks about moments. It's not about the future. It's about, what are you grateful for that you have right now? And if you've lost things, if you've lost, your security, responsibility, anything, it's, well, how can you fill that space and that gap with gratitude, family, health? Like, I have a meal in front of me right now, right? And so gratitude, the roof over your head, clothes on your bed. And that you might be rolling your eyes, like hearing that right now, because you're like, the world and everything is happening at me. And the mindset piece is the shift of, this is not happening at me, this is happening for me, right? So be in control over what you can control. Yeah. Keep your habits, practice gratitude as much as possible.
Mandy started a thing, I think day 30 was yesterday, but early on in this, she just said how, what's an easy way for me to fill my cup by serving the community. And she started a thing called Morning Mindset. And at 8:30 on the ACE class digital platforms, anybody can jump in, and she has, over the course of a day, thousands of people watching this thing. But it's just her. We make coffee together. We share gratitude, read a little mindfulness, drink a glass of lemon water, and she goes to her office, Studio A in the house, and she just gets on and shares something that she's read in a book the day before, the morning of, and the amount of messages that have come back to her have been just like yesterday. She's playing this message off her phone, and I'm crying, and I'm like, you never should doubt the impact you can have, especially during these moments. And I think that's really right now is as Mandy said, like, one day at a time. This is something we couldn't have planned for, and take it easy on yourself. It's we'll come out of this together.
So, and one last question for you guys. I'll let you go and enjoy your sunny Saturday here. I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, business leaders, need a reminder every once in a while. But from your guys' standpoint, why do you do what you do? Why do you get up and keep fighting the fight? Why, when your business burns down, do you keep going? Why do you get up in the morning, Mandy, and provide these messages? Like, what?
Yeah, my why is about fulfillment. It's about it's not inspiration, it's inspiring people to take action in their lives. And you know, we have one life, so how do we live the best of it? How do we find fulfillment in our businesses? And that's, you know, for me, it was like, how can I be of service and continue to support these people? And I'm getting a lot from that too. It's showing me that I'm actually living in alignment with my values, in alignment with that why every single morning, and seeing the power of, you know, James shared like the messages coming in, and I'm seeing women take control when they had no control. You know, they're taking their control back. And outside of that, there's like habit stacking happening on top of that, where like I don't think anyone is going to want to go back to work on time ever when this is over, because they're like, no, we own our mornings now. Like, this is what we do. We meditate, we have lemon water, we have coffee, we come together. Like, no, we're not going back to work. Yeah, it's, you know, it's like, how can I be of service, and how can I continue to support women even in these uncertain times to find fulfillment in their life. And I think that's so important for businesses to just be of service. I mean, it's been incredible seeing the Righteous team also showing up and putting happiness in people's hands that need it most right now through the food bank and frontline workers. My grandma passed away. She was in a care facility in North Vancouver, and she had COVID. She was in one of the places where they had the first outbreak, and James's team out there has continued to deliver gelato to that facility. And my mother is sending messages all the time, like, this is just the nicest thing, and like delivering that, you know, the little pieces of joy as much as possible right now. How can you be of service? It's so important.
Nice.
He's crying.
Man, cry count. I get emotional because it's I think this is just how I was raised, and how we grew up with not a lot. You know, there was always sort of that sentiment of do the best with what you have, or do great with what you have. And as a company for the last 11 years, we've just done what we could when we can. And yeah, that's really the motivator. I think it starts with me waking up knowing that I get to serve our team, and I always say, build the company you'd want your dad to work for. And my dad's been there 7 years. He's on lockdown right now. We can't let him out. He's want to keep him safe. He's like the Pope, you know, just keep him super safe. Don't let him out of the glass box.
He needs a haircut really badly.
Oh yeah, but his birthday's on Sunday too, so we'll figure that out. But anyways, I get up for those folks, and through that we continue to serve, and not a lot of people know, as Mandy alluded to, but you know, a lot of businesses, and I think this is great, a lot of younger businesses are getting in the community and doing their part, and taking the lead from brands like ours that, you know, we're forefathers of it, and the way we learned it was from forefathers of ours, and now, you know, we're in a position where we've done a tremendous amount of work that really we haven't talked about in the social media lens, but I can tell you the folks at every hospital in Alberta, as well as food banks across the country, have had a smile, courtesy of something that is easy to do, is what I keep saying. People are saying, how did you do this? Or, you know, so on and so forth. And I think I just come back to do the easy things for people right now. You know, I watered the neighbor's lawn yesterday because they got a young baby, and I'm sure that they smiled when they saw that happen. And that's really all it takes is a simple gesture to bring kindness. And as Nench would say, do 3 things a day that make this city a better place, or this province a better place. So hopefully this is one for us, for those folks watching, and just remember to take it easy on yourself. It's not easy, but I promise it'll be worth it.
Yeah. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't show up for others. So
Agreed.
Mental health, so important. It's Canadian Mental Health Awareness Week next week. At the core, as the entrepreneur, the founder, you need to prioritize your health. You need to prioritize your mental health, your physical well-being, so that you can call on your courage when you need to.
Absolutely.
Guys, that is amazing. I appreciate you taking the time. keep doing what you're doing. Keep sharing those words of encouragement. I appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday morning here to chat with me. And I know it will go a long way with a lot of people out there. So enjoy the rest
Oh,
of your
I
day.
mean, if you said come over on Saturday for coffee, I mean, we'd put our pants on and come
He would
visit.
100%. He'd do that.
I'm so proud of this city. I'm so proud of what everybody's doing. Proud of the businesses that are showing up for the community. Not unlike the flood. Ninj stood at McMahon and said, he's expecting 60 volunteers and 6,000 showed up, and his message was, it's not complicated. Just grab a shovel and put on some boots and help your neighbor. And that's really all it takes right now, is support those around you and the businesses you love and the people you love. And I promise it'll make a difference.
Agree 100%, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you. Stay
Right.
safe, stay healthy, and we'll hopefully see each other in person sometime soon here.
Yes, I hope
Absolutely.
so.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.